If you enjoy these videos, please be sure to hit the like button below and also hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. Thanks. Hi gang, NoPro here with another Emcomm systems training video. Today I want to talk about radios. In a previous video, I touched on the concept of modularity. I briefly mentioned that I have several different radio boxes that I can use depending on the complexity of the event. Today I want to dive into them and give you a better understanding of how I set them up and why. Let's start off with my most basic kit, the HT kit. Now I actually have several versions of this for different radios, but they're all similar. This one is for my Anytone 878 radio. The unique thing about this is you can set up different zones for different activities. For example, if you're going to Ventura County, you can program in just the channels into that zone that you'll be using in Ventura County. Similarly, you can set up a separate zone for San Bernardino County and put all the frequencies you use there. That way it makes it much easier to find what you're looking for. This radio, you can have a couple of hundred different zones. It's really impressive. So I strongly recommend, even if you're in the analog world only, try one of these radios. A neat trick that an Elmer taught me years ago was to convert all your radios to BNC connectors. Always change them out. That makes it much easier to adapt using different antennas depending on the situation. So I strongly recommend you do that. In keeping with it, the first thing you'll notice on this bag is an external antenna. In a PVC vinyl tube, I have the long antenna. This is simply a half-inch PVC tube with a hard cap on one end and a screw cap on the other end. Like modularity, I like to compartmentize my bag, organize it into blocks to keep things readily available. For example, in this packet, I have my AC charging adapter. I have both the charging cradle and the power supply in here, all in one unit. In this compartment, I have the speaker mic. In this compartment, I have the smaller speaker mic as well as the earbud that came with the radio. In this compartment, I carry other accessories, including the DC battery eliminator, a roll-up J-pole antenna, an extra headset, as well as the adapter cables to go from BNC out to UHF. Inside the compartment, in one of the pockets, I keep the spare battery. There's always a spare battery. Also, it's highly advisable to get a AA battery clamshell adapter. This allows you to use AA batteries instead of rechargeable batteries. And then in the other compartment, I keep the documentation for the radio. In this modular system, I know that everything I need to run this HT is in this single bag. By the way, I found a great source for these vinyl morale patches. It's called Mutiny Shop. They'll create a custom patch for you for next to nothing, and the beauty is that they'll do it for a minimum quantity of one. This one cost me only like $5 or $6. I highly recommend them. For a lot of events, I use this kit. This is a Yaesu FTM 400 set up in a small Pelican case. The radio is pre-configured with a small power whip that allows for easy connection to an external battery. I installed a digital connection jumper to aid in quick connection, as well as a right angle adapter for my antenna connection. The key is to prep the radio to be as quick and easy to deploy as possible. You don't want to have to pull it all the way out of the box to make the connections. In here I also have a small prime antenna that can be used in a pinch. And always, always, always I recommend that you create a cheat sheet for each one of your radios for the most basic functions. To power this, I'm using one of my battery boxes. I'll go into detail on these boxes in another video. To top off this kit, I'll bring along a small antenna bag. This bag contains a tripod, a diamond antenna, and coax. This too will be covered in more detail in another video. With this station, I can bring along a signal link and a small computer to easily operate in digital modes. The system is compact and can be readily deployed. In my car, I have an Anytone UV5888 radio installed. The body is in the back, mounted in a case along with a power supply. The control head is remoted to the front. This allows me to quickly remove it and use it for deployment if needed. For routine HF work, I use the Yaesu FT891. This radio is combined with an auto tuner. I sandwich the units together to make as many connections as possible. This allows me to quickly set it up when needed. A power and antenna connection are all that I need. For more complex events, I'll deploy my FM Heavy Comms box. I personally use the Gator brand. Now this box is for standard 19-inch rack mount equipment. The difference is that this is called an effects case. It's shallower than standard cases. I have two Anytone UV5888 dual VFO radios and a Cobra marine radio installed. There's a power supply and a digital scanner installed as well. I installed dimmable LED lighting to illuminate the work surface at night, and it added extra power outlets to the front panel to power auxiliary equipment if needed. On the back, I remoted all the connections onto a clearly marked panel, so you don't need to waste time digging into the box to make connections to set it up. Now you may be wondering where I got this custom-made panel. Looks really good, doesn't it? Well, I made it myself. Let me tell you, it was incredibly easy too. First thing I did, I took all the measurements that I needed, the size of the switches, the size of the opening that it's going to be in. I laid all of this out in a program called Visio. Visio is a for purchase Microsoft product, but you can find generic alternates online for free. Once I laid everything out, I then reversed the image on Visio so that when I printed it would print backwards. I then took some of that old school overhead transparency film, the clear film, and I printed the panel layout on the film. Now what that did was that put the image upside down on the film, but when you flip the film over, now you can read it the right way and it's protected, it will not scratch off. I then took a piece of aluminum panel that would fit, spray painted it white, and then used contact adhesive and put the plastic film onto it. Instant panel. Looks wonderful, doesn't it? Now that's my secret, so don't tell anybody else that. For long range and NVIS communications, I use my HF box. Again, this is a Gator effects box to keep things manageable. Also, it allows for easy stacking of both of the units. In this box, I have my Emcomm IC7000 HF radio, an LDG IT100 auto tuner, and an older Yaesu FT90 FM radio. Why? Because I had it laying around and it fit the hole. I also have a power supply installed, and like the FM box, I installed LED lighting and auxiliary power unit outputs on the front panel. On the back, I remoted all the connections onto a clearly marked panel, so you don't need to waste time digging into the box to make connections to set it up. So you see, depending on the event, I can customize my response to be the most effective without being overburdening. That's the key to Emcomm systems. Until next time, this is Christopher, No Pro. Have a nice day and stay safe out there.